Hello everyone and welcome to Minnesota Minx football here on HCTV Sports. Here from Bakken Field in St. Paul, Minnesota. It's the 0-2 Minnesota Minx and the 0-4 Iowa Phoenix. I'm your announcer for this afternoon, Owen Ely, along with my broadcast partner, Reagan Hooverman. Reagan, how's it going, buddy?
It's going great. It's not fall, it's summer, but we're back. We're at a football field, and I don't think there's anything better than football. It doesn't matter the time of year, where you're at. It's going to be a great ball game, and I mean we're basically jumping right into it here with kickoff.
Yeah, this is a shotgun start. You know, there's been a lot of talk about spring football with the USFL and the XFL, but
sure.
Reagan, for my money, I mean, there's nothing better than the WFA and Minnesota football.
Minnesota football. These are, you know, you got your hometown team kind of here, right? The Minx enter 0-2. The Phoenix, part of Division III, enter 0-4. So someone today is leaving with their first W of the year. And I'm sure a lot of the people watching are hoping it's the hometown Minnesota Minx. Yeah,
somebody's always got to go, and you know the stadium is filling up. There's a good amount of people out here. There's a good amount of people out here for the season opener. Unfortunately, we ran into some rain, but even through the rain, there was plenty of fans out here. So people are excited about the Minnesota Minx, and with that, we are underway as that's going to be fielded there at the 20-yard line. It's going to be taken down the left side hash and wrapped up right shy of the 35-yard line, and that's where the Iowa Phoenix will start their opening drive.
Not bad on the return. Fielded at about the 20 and brought it out to right around the 35-yard line, so decent field position here for the Phoenix offense.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what kind of tempo offense we see, how much passing we see on such a clear and slightly windy day. Certainly not, they wouldn't have to run the ball out of necessity like back early in May. First snap taken there by 25, a little screen pass incomplete. Covered there by Kayla Doby.
Good coverage on the first play, just out of the shotgun, a little swing pass, try and jumpstart the offense, and Minnesota was all over it.
Yeah, that pass there was attempted by Jazelyn Brown, who's going to be the starting quarterback for Iowa. And so we'll have a 3 wide receiver set here for Brown. Single high safety for Minnesota, and we'll get a false start penalty on the Phoenix.
Laundry on the field for the first time this afternoon, and Phoenix are going the wrong way.
Well, you know, we start the game off talking about how important field position is, and starting from the 35, and you know, it's a surefire way to kill your field position right there.
Yeah, a drive that looked like it had some early promise, like you said, starting at the 35-yard line, and you blink, and suddenly it's second and long, and you're behind the sticks here.
Same formation here for Iowa. Takes a high looping snap, the throw, the catch is made and torn down for a very short gain. Caught by Bridget Karsten.
So we see a replay of this play here. I mean, this is just great linebacker play from 23 the whole way. Textbook wrap-up, limiting any potential gain for the Phoenix, and now it's 3rd and long, and if you're Minnesota, you got to find a way to get off the field here on this first drive.
And I will credit Karsten with the catch because she's listed as a defensive tackle. I mean, those are some pretty good hands for a defensive tackle.
That is a two-way ball player right there. If you're playing D tackle and, well, that might have been a running back taking a swing pass, I believe, but even then, it's still impressive if you're playing defensive line on the other side.
Well, 3rd down and 16. The Minx looking for an early stop here. Brown lobs that one up, 50-50 ball, and ends up being 0-0 as it's incomplete, intended for Cheyenne Kurth.
Try to go vertical down the sideline and pick up first down with a chunk play, and Not sure if just didn't get enough under that ball, or I mean, it is kind of, the wind is blowing here a little bit, so you got to think maybe a higher arcing ball like that got caught up in the wind. But I mean, that's, if you're a Minnesota fan, that's about as textbook as you could have wanted the first defensive possession to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Just stout defense. You let them make the mental mistake of the penalty, and now we'll see what we can get on the punt return here. Solid chance they could end up in positive territory to start off.
And we're looking at Krogstad here, lined up to return for Minnesota out around the 30-31 yard line. So you got to think if she gets any return, it's going to be nice field position here.
So this punt is going to be into the wind. Not a terrible punt. We'll see. It takes a favorable bounce, and Krogstad will just let that one roll down at the 35. Playing it safe on the return.
Yeah, just, I mean, the decision right there, you're basically eliminating any chance of making a huge mistake, right? You're taking the good field position wherever the ball lands, and it's a smart play.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to Deshaun Jackson it and run all around.
Yeah, go crazy with it and try and break something loose. Yeah, that'll be saved for the dire straits in the fourth quarter if you get to that position.
Yeah, yep. All right, so it's our first look here at the Minnesota Minx offense. They'll come out in a 3-receiver set, one back in the backfield. Madison Hahn, the quarterback for the Minx, hands it off up the middle, and the running back is mobbed on the play for a loss of 2.
Probably going to see quite a bit of running today. I mean, the offensive statistics are fairly balanced, but Minnesota does tend to favor the rushing attack. 158 rushing yards this year, 79 per game compared to 100 passing yards with 50 per game. So, like I said, fairly balanced, but it seems like the Minx tend to favor rush.
Well, that's certainly on par with the league. It is definitely a rush-heavy league. Only 3 passing touchdowns, I believe, if the stats are current. Fans wanting maybe a grab there.
Yeah, looked like there might have been some jersey pulling there, but that was a nicely delivered ball too.
Yeah, that was
I think we
a
might
little
get
bit of a rope here. We'll take another look at it.
Out of the pistol. And yeah, that's a nice ball. Maybe a little contact there. Could have gone either way. Probably a good no call, honestly, at this point in the ball game.
Well, like I was saying, she's one of 3 quarterbacks to throw a passing touchdown in this league this season. So if there is a team to start airing out the ball, it certainly could be the Minx here this afternoon. We'll get another handoff up the middle, spinning around, a little stiff arm there, and they're going to get slightly past the original line of scrimmage. That's J.C. Otterson on the carry.
And I believe if the intel is correct, Hahn is a former Vixen player. So, I mean, you're talking about a veteran quarterback under center here, or out of the pistol, I should say, kind of leading your offense. And that, obviously you haven't won a game yet this season, but I can't think of anyone you'd rather have conducting your offense at the most important position in sports than a former professional player.
Yeah, certainly. But unfortunately for the Minx, that drive is going to stall out right at basically at the original line of scrimmage. So we're going to get a player in motion on the punt, and it's likely going to be a penalty here on the Minx, but we'll see what the call is.
Do we have I believe it's going to be a false start. Is that what that was?
Yeah, it's going to be a false start, so that's going to...
It'd be nice if we could go back to Dean Blandino out in L.A. to have some analysis done on the call, but I don't think I think he's off this afternoon.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing anything. I mean, he could, or we could call Jim Sturm, see what he's doing. That's basically our version.
The D3 rules expert applicable here with the Iowa Phoenix. Maybe not the same Division 3, but
well, I'm told it's college rules, and
Jim Sturm actually would be that. He'd be an excellent sideline reporter here this afternoon as well.
I'm not sure he's allowed within 100 yards of schools. we get the punt off. It's going to take a bounce, a good bounce for the Minx, but fielded up at the 41-yard line, just running straight to the sidelines. They're going to have to stop her here. And pushed out of bounds, we're going to say right around the 25. And that is an excellent return there for Iowa.
I believe that was Cheyenne Kurth, the safety. I mean, just taking it off the bounce. Talk about Deshaun Jackson earlier. Here it is. Getting at the outside edge, and the speed just takes over. I mean, that is an absolutely excellent return that sets Iowa up in position A here for their second offensive drive of the game.
Well, and, I hate the stereotype, but, you look at the rosters and the Iowa, you look at a lot of their players, I mean, they're kind of built to be speed demons, whereas Minnesota, seems to have the size, especially on the line.
Sure.
So definitely can get dangerous when you are on special teams. Brown talking it over with the sidelines, gets the handoff to the back. Had some space, but taken down after a gain of about 3 or 4. Crystal Peterson there with the carry.
That was Doby, number 23, with another tackle. She's had a really nice start to the ball game, breaking up passes earlier on the last drive, and now just finding a way to get through the gap and rack up the running back on first down to keep it in second and medium here.
11 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Both teams with the drive thus far. Both of them stalling out. Iowa looking to fix that here. We'll actually get a handoff right back to Crystal Peterson, and another short gain. Bringing up third and fairly manageable here.
And that's number 42, J.C. Otterson with the tackle. And just talking to some of the Minx staff before this game, Doby and Otterson are going to be the two leading tacklers for this ball club, and they've done it here early this afternoon.
Well, a crucial early game play here. If you can manage to get a few yards, makes going for it on fourth down a lot easier. Maybe you think about kicking a field goal.
Kind of in a tough spot here. Could be 4-down territory.
Brown takes the snap, throwing to just shy of the end zone, and wow, that is in and out of the chest there of the Iowa Phoenix wide receiver.
That's Kurth again after the excellent punt return. Had a chance to break the game open here with, I mean, certainly would have been a first down, maybe potentially scored on the play if Kurth can haul this one in. Defender just couldn't quite find a way to locate the ball, but made a nice play after it was bobbled to break it up completely.
Yeah, and her positioning, turning at the right time, I mean, she did everything right. Just came down to that final little sequence there, and now it's fourth down and 5, under 10 to go here in the first quarter.
Back in the shotgun again, 3 wide receiver split.
Brown takes the fumble of a snap, and it's going to be a turnover on downs at the 29-yard line.
Snap just came out way too low here.
Absolute worst case scenario there. If you run the ball and you don't make the first down, you can live with that, but you didn't even get a chance to do anything.
Tough spot to be in, especially on a fourth down. That is worst case scenario for the Phoenix, but a favorable position for Minnesota to get off the field on fourth down and send the offense back out there.
And I get the feeling, looking at the points per game between these two teams and seeing how these first couple of drives have transpired, I mean, it really comes down to a tug of war of field position, because neither team are scoring. It's one team makes a little bit of progress one way, and now they have to start further back, and we'll see who eventually wins that tug of war enough to put something in the end zone. We'll get a handoff, and that goes absolutely nowhere, running into a wall of white and black.
I give credit to Iowa's defensive line so far. They've done a nice job of filling holes and limiting the Minx's rushing attack here early. I've been surprised that there hasn't been too much under center action so far. It's been a lot of pistol for both sides. It's been a lot of pistol, a lot of shotgun, 3 wide receiver sets. I'm curious if that's. I wonder if the entire league is like that, or if these are just two unique teams, or what the offensive philosophy is here for both sides.
Well, we're going to see a 4 wide receiver set here for the Minx.
Back to the pistol.
Second down, surveys the field, throwing it to the right side, and it's intercepted. Intercepted at the first down marker, so that is primo field position here for Iowa. Again, I was talking about that tug-of-war of field position, and so far, Iowa doesn't have any points to show for it, but they very well might after this play there by the Phoenix defense.
That was Megan Kushner, the 5'7" defensive back for the Phoenix, intercepting that pass. And like you were saying, I mean, this is going to be 2 possessions in a row where Iowa has started in opposing territory, now at the 39-yard line, and I believe the last drive was out maybe near the 25-yard line after that awesome punt return.
Well, thus far, Minnesota's asking a lot of their defense. They've held strong, but we'll see what they can do here. And another fumbled snap. And they're really not going to lose any yards on the play, but they will obviously lose the down, so not a disaster situation there for Iowa, but maybe some sort of miscommunication between the quarterback and the center.
And that's I can't think of anything worse for a football team than miscommunication between center and quarterback on snapping. I mean, technically they've avoided disaster twice now. But if you're Iowa, you're not going to keep getting away with that forever.
No, certainly not. Not a very sustainable thing to do. They get the snap off this time. Another handoff to Peterson. Has some space. Evades a tackle and tries to run through a defender there. That was Sarah Thomas for the Minx on the tackle, and that's going to be a first down for the visiting Iowa Phoenix.
Crystal Peterson getting just a little shifty as we see quick replay here out of the shotgun, little handoff, and a lot of green grass ahead right there. Just a nice job by the Iowa offensive line to clear a hole and let Peterson do the rest.
Well, you know, patience is a virtue in many things in life, but it's especially a virtue for running backs. I mean, there's so many running backs that just try to hit the hole,
just
try to make a hole
immediately.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, the good running backs know when to take their time and when to hit the hole. And thus far, I mean, she's been the best player on the field here in the first quarter. Shotgun snap, a little high. Similar play as the last drive, and that's going to be broken up by Sarah Thomas. Making a tackle earlier and getting the deflection there.
Nice play by the defensive back right there out of Crystal, Minnesota. And if you were Minnesota, I mean, it would feel like you're getting away with a robbery here if you can find a way to get off the field after Iowa has started in your territory twice in a row.
Yeah, that is certainly a tall order. Back to this familiar formation here for Iowa. Second down, another fumbled snap, but they get the handoff and they're going to get some amount of positive yards there. Salvaged by Crystal Peterson, just kind of doing everything thus far for Iowa.
It's going to become third and manageable instead of third and long.
I think
that's just a great job by the quarterback to get that ball off the ground and get it handed off to the running back.
Yeah, because you got to think, you're thinking about so many pre-snap reads, and you're thinking about where do I want to put the ball, and then you kind of get that monkey wrench thrown at you, and it's a tough thing. Looks like we do have a injured player on the field here for the Minx.
Athletic training staff will come out as we get a shot of the ref tying his shoe right there. The athletic training staff coming out to tend on the injured player.
I mean, we don't want the refs to be tripping out there.
It's like Joey Crawford on those old NBA games. He was famous for falling down, making his way up the floor. Got to keep those shoes tied, and it looks like can't quite make out the number.
Yeah, tough to see. I can't see if she has a C on her chest as well, so that might be a captain for the Minx.
But walking to the sidelines under her own power, so that's always a good sign.
Yeah, I didn't quite see what they were tending to, or what, you know, she wasn't grabbing.
Oh, that is a captain spot. It looks like 7-8. Chantel Bolio, 78, taking the helmet off, getting tended to by the trainer.
Certainly a fixture of that defensive line. So
yeah, especially with the captain spot on your jersey, you gotta think you're not only a good player, but you'd have to assume with a captain, an excellent leader as well.
Another handoff here to Peterson, shucking and jiving her way to the far side, and they're going to get a first down there on 3rd down. This drive is just taking up time here for Iowa. 6 minutes to go here in the opening quarter.
It's a big conversion, too. Avoid a 4th down. You find a way to get the chains moving. You're inside the red zone now with a fresh set of downs. And Iowa in position A here for the first trip in the red zone of the afternoon.
Well, especially, and, you know, not to be any type of way about it, but especially, you know, when you've had 3, 4, 5 fumbled snaps. I mean, you saw what happened on the last 4th down, so to buy yourself that extra down, because I get the feeling that, you know, in this league, not a lot of field goals are going to be kicked. There's going to be a lot of 4th down conversions like there are at the lower levels of college and high school. So, you know, realistically, you're probably always working with 4 downs. Brown with the throw. The catch is made up the middle of the field and stopped at the 2-yard line. That's going to be another first down, a first down and goal from the 2. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. The catch, couldn't quite see who made the catch there for Iowa, but a great throw there by Brown.
That was 21, Shannon Christensen, the 5'7" wide receiver out of College of St. Benedict, St. John's. He's a Johnny. Talk about good football. That's
crazy good football.
That is an elite football program.
Probably should pull a St. Thomas and probably not be at the D3 level.
That's probably true.
Well, now the Minx backs are definitely against the wall here, and that's going to be a touchdown for Iowa. Crystal Peterson, who else but Crystal Peterson, gets the game started here with 4:55 in the first quarter. It's going to be a touchdown here for the Iowa Phoenix.
So we see a replay of this inside handoff. That's Jaslyn Brown handing off to Peterson, who does the rest. She's been so fantastic this afternoon. That touchdown set up by what was it? Probably a 12 or 15-yard grab by the aforementioned Christensen. And then when you're down on the goal line, who else are you going to go to but Peterson, who's already been so fantastic today? And it looks like a 2-point conversion opportunity here out of the gate. I mean, give credit to Iowa as well for overcoming some of that adversity. You fumbled, you've turned it over on downs. You find a way to kind of right the ship and score on your ensuing possession.
Yeah, they have not played their best game thus far, but, you know, with a lead, that's all you can ask for. We'll get the throw, and it's deflected. So it's going to stay at 6-0. But points seemingly coming at a premium here. This is massive.
And that was Krogstad, I believe, with the pass breakup in the end zone. Tight coverage and just found a way to deflect the ball. So a nice play to keep it at 6-0 instead of going up 8-0.
And, you know, this is what I was talking about, too, with, you know, you're not scoring. That was not Iowa scoring on one drive. That was Iowa scoring on 8 drives, back and forth, slowly moving the ball closer and closer until they put it in. And
the field position battle, like you alluded to, I mean, so important there. When you're starting drives in opposing territory at the 35, even sometimes further up than that, at some point it almost becomes hard not to score, right? If you're starting every drive that close to the opposing end zone. And Iowa cashed in. Give credit where credit is due. But Minx with a chance to respond here coming up.
Well, they definitely need to get something put on the board here. See if they can't get a sizable return. Karsten to kick off for Iowa.
And it's an
an
onside
onside kick, and that's going to go just shy of the Gatorade table down there. They are
Ref, I mean,
playing to
just
win.
10 minutes late with that flag throw after not.
Well, that's obviously going to be a penalty on Iowa, so good field position for the Minx to work with here.
Yeah, we've been talking about starting in opposing territory. Minnesota's going to get the same advantage that Iowa's had for the last couple possessions.
For Tricarico, now this is going to bring up 4th down, so they were having plenty of success earlier in the drive. Got down there on that brilliant pass, and all of a sudden it's 4th down. Not exactly the worst thing in the world if you turn the ball over, because that is such a short field to work with. Maybe you think about a safety.
For
but
absolutely.
Obviously, they're looking for 6 points right here. Excuse me, they're looking for 3 points right here because they're going to kick a field goal. Mel Hopkins, the kicker. It's about a 20-yard field goal, and I don't know if that was a fake or if that was a botched snap, but that is going to put the ball out. Obviously, a turnover on downs at the 11-yard line, so now that thought of a safety is totally gone.
Not quite sure what happened. If this was a designed fake, we get another. We're going to get a look at it here. Oh, it's bobbled. It's bobbled. That was, I mean, the snap wasn't, definitely not ideal. Not much Otterson could have done there with trying to pick it out of the dirt. And an unforced error there for Minnesota.
You know, and I think so many people, there's so much scrutiny on kickers and special teams and things like that, especially at the professional level, because it seems so automatic. But the reality is, at the high school, at the college level, at the women's professional level, it is actually really hard to kick a field goal.
And it's the reason you see a lot of teams go for 2-point conversions. It's a reason kickers in high school and some of the...
They're looking to really air it out here, and that was just great positioning and coverage there by Sarah Thomas for the Minx. Just didn't allow the wide receiver to blow past her, and that one sails well beyond the intended target.
And it's going to be 4th and 8 here. Kind of an interesting position. I mean, if you're the Phoenix, you are in opposing territory, but it's mid to long yardage and a punt. I mean, you could realistically play the field position game here and try and lock them somewhere inside the 10 to 15-yard line range.
Yeah, if I was them, I would certainly think about that, because you've won this game thus far from field position,
Absolutely.
so you might as well stick with what's gotten you to the dance. But it does look like they're going to come out here on offense.
Gotta think they could go back to Christensen on the edge.
Brown has a little bit of time, throws a spiral, and that is deflected. We do have a penalty marker near the interaction over there on the far side.
And that laundry came in from the back judge, who was out near the 30-yard line, so he had the best eyes for that play. And we'll await the call here.
Well, it looks like it's going to be...
And defensive holding. That I believe that's an automatic first down.
Brutal. Yeah, the Minx defense backing up. Yeah, and that's going to be an automatic first down. I mean, just shooting yourself in the foot. There's a look on the replay.
I thought defensive holding was 5 yards, automatic first down. I think they marked off 10. Is that a college thing? I can't remember.
See,
the NFL defensive holding is 5 yards, I believe.
I believe you're correct. This is why we need Jim Stern.
Rules changed. No, that's correct. I mean, if he's listening, D3 rules expert, feel free to call in. Are we taking calls?
Yeah, I think so. Well, Iowa is taking a first down on the run. That's going to be Romero Lacey with her first carry of the game, the pride of Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
A two-way player, 5'8", 165 on the weight. Kirkwood Community College, so playing both sides of the ball and doing a nice job this afternoon for Iowa.
Home of the Cedar Rapids Colonels.
Is that a tribute to Colonel Sanders?
Maybe. Tribute to Corn.
I know that. Hey, you never know where the Colonel could be looming.
Brown with the snap. Second consecutive handoff there to number 8, Lacey. This one a little less yardage on the play, maybe gain of 1.
Yeah. 10.5 to go here in the first half. Iowa kind of methodically driving so far and just finding it. They've done a nice job of, even with some of the miscommunications between the center and quarterback, they've found a way to get first downs. And it certainly helps when you have Peterson in the backfield. I believe that's been said in Minnesota a few times.
Yeah, I think you're right. Seem to remember a guy by that name.
They've been pretty consistent out of the shotgun formation.
Yeah, I don't think they've ran even a snap out of the pistol. We're going to get a penalty flag. Play continues.
That's going to be a false start.
Deflection there by Castonguay.
Oh, they're going to say offsides or neutral zone infraction must have been. The offensive lineman must have been baited into moving.
Yeah, the old Aaron Rodgers free play.
Yeah, the old free play. And that's a heads-up play by Iowa. They're just taking a shot downfield. When you see Laundry fly, knowing you've got a free play to go with.
Yeah, Iowa's been really good at baiting this game.
And 2nd and 5. And they've done a nice job of, outside of that first possession where they kind of couldn't really get going offensively, the Phoenix have found a way to get ahead of the sticks and keep themselves in manageable 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down opportunities.
Yeah, so true. Because they're not getting first downs on first down and second down. It is later in these downs. We get the handoff to Peterson. Wrapped up for a small gain.
And that's a perfect example of it. Yeah, it's 2nd and 5, and you could go to the air, but you hand it off to Peterson, you get yourself into 3rd and 1 or looks like maybe 3rd and 2. And even if you don't convert here, you've got a chance to go for it on 4th down.
Well, I'm sure they feel, they're not getting negative yardage running the ball. They're really not getting 0 yardage running the ball. So, you just take whatever progress you can get. But eventually you're going to get that first down as opposed to, an incompletion or anything like that. Two receivers here on the near side. Brown, the quarterback, takes the snap. Another handoff to Peterson up the middle. Looks like she was going to get into the end zone, but the gap closed real quick for the Minnesota Minx defense. That is going to be a first down for Iowa. And maybe have a couple of players shaken up a little bit.
And it looks like that is Peterson, who's going to jog to the sideline after getting up gingerly. And it appears as if she's fine, but even if she misses a couple plays, that is less than ideal if you're a Iowa Phoenix fan.
Yeah, doesn't mean they can't do it without her. We just haven't seen it.
Sure.
South of 8 minutes to go here in the opening half.
That seemed like a long time in between plays. I'm not sure if they stopped the play clock for injury or what, but
yeah, maybe a little liberal with the play clock. Brown looking to pass down the middle. And no penalty is going to be called on the play. Probably the right call there. Had a Minx defender kind of putting her hands up in the air like, don't call one on me.
Just out of reach, and that was number 23, Doby, the linebacker in coverage. And now Minnesota, you just got to find a way to either make them force a field goal or get them into a fourth and long situation and just try and get off the field and avoid disaster going down 3 scores.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's over if they get up by 3 scores, but boy, that's
it's a tough hill to climb.
And we will get a whistle here. I don't see any penalty flag.
That's a false start. So second and medium becomes second and longer for the Phoenix. 7.5 to go.
Well, if you're the Minx, I mean, you'll take whatever you can get in that situation.
Yeah, any way to get off the field is a good way to get off the field, and Minnesota doing its best.
Snap, a handoff there to 8, Lacey, and maybe a gain of a yard. So, again, if you're Minnesota, you'll take that.
And that is Peterson coming back into the ball game, so maybe just shaking up for needed a play or two or a quick breather, and now back in the action in what's going to be a pretty critical third down play here with under 7 to play in the first half.
Could set the tone for the rest of the game for the Minx if they can try to get the stop here on this drive. Three receivers set, this time 2 receivers at the top of the screen. Brown takes the snap, hands it off to Peterson on a sweep near side. One player to beat, still on her feet, hits a little spin, and she's going to be shy of the goal line, probably down at the 3-yard line, but it's still 4th down, so certainly more crack at it.
This is certainly go for it territory if you're Iowa here. I can't imagine kicking a field goal trying to go up 17 when you've had the success you've had running the ball today, and also considering even if you turn it over, Minnesota hasn't been able to do much offensively, and they'd be inside their own 5-yard line.
Yeah, the only argument for kicking a field goal here is it would make it 3 possessions,
sure.
But I tend to fall more in line with your thinking, where even if you don't score a touchdown here, it's not the worst thing ever because you have no space for that offense to function.
And going back to the set they've been in, I mean, basically the whole game they've run onto this shotgun set.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I
Sure.
suppose is their logic here. Brown looking to the right, looking left, throw, and deflected by number 19, Sarah Thomas. That's a turnover on downs, potential 6 points off the board.
And that's such a great defensive play by Sarah Thomas. As we see number 19, that's her coming to the sideline, getting some celebratory high fives, well deserved, I might say, after this play. And that's a nice job by the Iowa offensive line. Just didn't have anywhere to go with it.
Sarah Thomas might be the best player on this defense. I mean, I know Doby and Otterson have had a good game, but I mean that's not her first deflection of the game.
No, it's not, and it likely won't be her last with the way this ball game has gone so far. Now, if you're Minnesota, I mean, you gotta just find a way to get out of your own 10-yard line, find a way to get a first down and get some room to operate.
I mean, at some point you would have to think with that type of arm talent, you just take a swing at it downfield, just really try for a home run. So the ball's spotted at the 4, a man in motion. Handed off to the man in motion, and that's an interesting looking tackle there by number 4, Tiffany Ortiz. And no gain on the play for the Minx.
And trying to run some of that wide receiver jet sweep like Iowa was doing effectively earlier, I believe, in the first quarter, and just not the same success here for Minnesota with now under 5 minutes to play in this first half.
Well, it looked more like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner pulling guard as opposed to tackling somebody. That was an interesting flop on the back there. Could not have felt good. Four and a half to go here before halftime. 2-possession lead for the visitors. Hahn sends a man in motion. They hand it off to the man in motion, and that goes absolutely nowhere. Lucky that's not A safety. We do have a penalty flag on the field.
Wow. Just narrowly avoiding disaster right there. And it looks like Minnesota is signaling for a timeout.
I don't know if being at the 4-yard line is the best place to use motion and long developing plays, but take a look here at the replay. Get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, it was offsides. It looks like 14 jumped a little early there, and very fortunate for Minnesota that that play didn't stand as was. And now it's going to be a Minx timeout here. 4 minutes and change remaining in the first half. Beautiful afternoon here. Compared to the weather when we first came here to broadcast, what was that, a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was torrential downpour. Doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, that was brutal.
It was brutal.
Shout out to our cameramen for attempting that one.
Yeah, trying to brave the conditions to bring some football to these fans, and it just wasn't going to happen that day.
That was that was brutal. This is perfect. This is ideal sports weather. Not a cloud in the sky. It's I can't say I've spent too much time in St. Paul over on the east side, but this is a nice little neighborhood. I mean, a lot of greenery. Stadium's not bad,
and ballpark adjoining. I mean, nice field as well. I mean, look at that scene right there. That is textbook sports conditions.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a better day to try to get your first win of the season. Unfortunately for the Minx, it's looking like Iowa's going to get their first win of the season if this score holds. 2nd down and 5 after the penalty, and that is just a great wrap-up tackle there by Bridget Karsten. Not the first time we've called her name this afternoon.
And Karsten is a Wolverine, University of Michigan alumna, and playing like she played for that Wolverines defense. I mean, we have seen that before.
Yeah, that is impressive. Also, your use of alumni is impressive. I mean, so you mean to tell me she's not an alumni?
Correct. I, that one, I can thank good old Andres Stromness for that one, because that was pounded into my skull over and over until I got it correct.
Anytime I see somebody have that on Twitter or social media or in like a bio, like, oh, I'm a Minnesota alumni, I just
Not quite.
Yeah, you don't know the Stromness.
Yep.
You're not familiar with the Latvian legend.
It's honestly, it's an all-time technicality.
It totally is. But now I cannot not see it.
Absolutely. And it looks like player coming off the field. Little assistance there from the trainer, but for the most part, maybe under her own power. I believe that's Ivy Anderson, the 5'2" running back out of Rockford, Minnesota. Wayzata High School.
Rocking the double eights as a running back.
I mean, is that a tribute to Dez? Is that a tribute to, who's that a tribute to?
Patrick Kane.
Honestly.
I mean, wrong sport, but, state of hockey.
And offsides again. This could be a free play.
Can't capitalize on it, but we'll take the penalty.
That hard count is more than doing its job. That's the second time this possession that I believe number 14 for the Phoenix, Clarissa Smith, the linebacker, has jumped off sides here. So, you got to think when you have a veteran quarterback, and especially one who played for the Vixen back in the day in Madison Hahn, some of those veteran plays, those are the type of things that can get you your offense going and maybe find a way to move the sticks here.
A scholar of the game. A game manager in the best way of putting that. I mean, I don't think that's a derogatory thing in general, but I know some people take offense to game manager. But what does a quarterback do if they're good, if not manage the game, as we'll get yet another penalty on the play?
Oh, and they're saying false start this time.
You jinxed the Minx.
Looks like Looks like maybe Hahn's hard count was a little too good there.
A little too hard of a count.
Some of the offensive linemen falling for it. And
I mean, those are the best kind of counts when nobody knows when the ball's going to get snapped. Well, 3:23 to go here in the second quarter. Time is just moving at a standstill the last handful of minutes here. Let's get all these penalties. We'll get the pass, and intended receiver will get a hand on it, but not a very catchable ball.
Yeah, just sailed it a little bit. FedEx airmail that one.
That was intended for Brittany Trecarico.
And it's going to bring up fourth down. Got to think the punt unit comes on, and it looks like it does.
And punting from the 6, I mean, this is such a dangerous. This is the right thing to do, but such a dangerous proposition.
That is number 33 back there, Mel Hopkins, for the Minx.
And again, they're having trouble figuring out which personnel should be out there. You never want to see that.
It's the second time it's the same punt unit that's had the confusion. As we see Cheyenne Kurth back to return, already had one explosive return earlier this ball game.
And she'll get the punt off. That is going to be fielded
Oh,
and fumbled and recovered by the Minx. I don't know what she was doing there, but that is what the Minx need, and that's basically just as good as a 20-yard pass.
And that's just, if you're Iowa, that play makes you sick. I mean, Kurth has been so excellent returning kicks. Today, she took one nearly 50 yards to the house earlier, and just inexplicable. Just didn't corral it, and instead of Iowa knocking on the door of, kicking this door in. Instead, it's going the other way. As we see a shot there of Grant Palmer, the head coach for the Minx.
And that's especially brutal because she caught it. She fielded it. It's not like it bounced off as an incompletion.
I mean, just with the way this game was going, and you think if she fields out of the 30, an explosive returner like that, she's going to get at least 5 to 10 yards. You're inside the red zone to start, already up 2 scores. I mean, that you can put the game away if you're Iowa in that position, and suddenly Minnesota has second life here with 3 minutes and change to go in the first half.
And the biggest kicker, too, it was so obvious, too, with the way the ball was spinning. That ball was going to take such a bad bounce for the Minx that you probably could have got 5-10 yards just not even fielding it, just letting it bounce back, because it did not have top spin or back spin or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
It was going to go the wrong way. There's a real art to punting the ball. We will get a handoff here to Otterson. And she's going to stay on her feet. Doesn't get more than a yard or two on the carry.
Just a good old-fashioned gang tackle right there by the swarming Phoenix defense, just putting hats on hats and finding a way to get towards the ball carrier. I know it hasn't happened yet, and it's 3rd and long here, but if Minnesota could find a way to score before the end of this first half and bring it to within 7, you have to feel you would feel complete jubilation heading into the halftime break if you're only down. If you can find a way to score and get down just 1 possession with the way this ball game has gone so far.
Oh, so true. Just mathematically make it closer. You get the momentum. You get the monkey off your back. It would do wonders if they could put something on the board here before halftime.
First, they got to find a way to convert this 3rd down and 9 with the clock still ticking, just over 2 minutes left.
2 receivers on either side. Now Hahn looking to throw. The catch is made, and she's going to get the first down, tackled at the 40-yard line.
That's an excellent grab there by number 27, Brittany Trick. And we're going to see a replay of this. Look at 14 coming off the edge. That's a great play by the running back to chip and buy time for the quarterback. And, that's a beautiful over-the-shoulder grab. That was textbook in every aspect of the play.
Krogstad has great hands. Tricarico has great hands. Hahn has a great arm. I think they just need better protection from this offensive line. That's the reason that they're not getting too much success running the ball. And they don't have the time to pass. But when they can get something like that, when you can get a good chip block from your running back, I mean, you see what they're capable of.
Now you're in the 2-minute drill here. You've still got a timeout left, but you're a minute 40 on the clock with it rolling right now. Fresh set of downs. At some point here, the tempo is going to have to pick up.
Yeah, no question about it. We'll get a pistol snap here. The handoff to Otterson up the middle, smashing her way for 8 yards. It's a solid play, but there's going to have to be a little bit of pace going on here.
You either need to call a hurry-up offense or get a timeout, and it looks like they're signaling for a timeout. And it will be. Man, my goodness, what a run right there from Otterson. 4-2, just getting north and south the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, well, you know, you don't get 4-2 as a running back for nothing. I mean, you're probably pretty physical running back, running like Larry Zonka out there. Like John Riggins.
I'm trying to think of an old school, and we see the shot there of the Iowa staff, and that's Ricky Jimenez Dragoni there, the head coach, in the khaki shorts, in the purple polo, talking to his players.
I'm not saying this is the only reason why he got hired for the job, but do you think at least a part of why he got hired for the job is because his last name is Dragoni and they're the Iowa Phoenix?
I mean, it's an all-time name. I mean, Dragoni is, I mean, that's pretty awesome. You never know what goes into these hiring decisions, man. They're done behind closed doors. I have no sourcing to back that up, but I just assumed it.
I can only speak for me as we take a look at the crowd here. Not too shabby.
The crowd isn't bad. I mean, it has slowly continued to fill in as this game has progressed, and it's nice to get a shot of the home crowd because it's certainly more near capacity than the visiting crowd, which hard to blame traveling from Iowa for a game, but
well, yeah, Memorial Weekend as well,
Hey, certainly some of the fans have made that trip, as there are. I mean, the visitor stands, albeit sparse, there are people over there.
We get a pass here from Hahn, airs it out. The catch is made by Krogstad. That's going to be a first down and much more. Stop the clock. About 70 seconds to go, and they're finally getting this passing offense going. That's something that the Phoenix don't have.
And watch Hahn. I mean, this is veteran play. She's going to take a shot here. Boom, gets knocked down, but stood in the pocket, delivered a strike downfield. I mean, that is a more inexperienced quarterback might have panicked there, tried to move and shift in the pocket. I mean, watch her. Bang, takes a shot, but delivers an absolutely A-plus ball down the sideline.
Her throwing motion, I can't get over it. It's so smooth. It's like butter. I mean, it's like a video game throwing motion. She has a better throwing motion than some quarterbacks in the WIAC.
This is, I mean, it's fair.
Hahn gets the handoff. Otterson runs into a couple of players. Halfway to a first down. They will have to hurry up here. They have no timeouts.
A minute, 60 seconds exactly left on the clock. No timeouts. But this Minnesota offense, they've found a rhythm. They've gotten rolling. It's been Krogstad. It's been Hahn. It's been Otterson. Everyone is starting to do their job. And they've seen consecutive first downs because of it.
Like they say, better late than never. Hahn fields the low snap, looking left. The throw, the catch is made. And taken down at the 10-yard line. That's going to be Brittany Tricarico.
And Hahn, I mean, just dishing the football around, that is so excellent. Just over the outstretched arms of the defender, and they're back in the hurry-up.
Well, I think we see what the game plan is going to be for the rest of the game for the Minx.
I mean, that's what I was talking about earlier. The running game just hadn't had much success, and we're going to get an Iowa Phoenix timeout there by Jimenez Dragoni. Wants to talk it over, and
to be honest, that probably benefits the Minx just as much, if not more.
I agree. I mean, just Hahn has been, I mean, we know, a former professional player, a former Vixen member, it's always, the skill is unquestionably there. They just haven't quite been on the same page today until this drive. I mean, they have moved down the field seemingly effortlessly, and I mean, she's dishing it around like an old school point guard. Everyone's getting involved right now.
Yeah, she is looking great out there, and this is a totally different offense, totally different feel to the game. You finally feel like there's hope. You finally feel like they can put some points on the board fans are getting into it. And
as we see a Let's Go Minx sign right there, we got the fans brought some signage. That's excellent. And it's getting the crowd a little rowdy here. They've got the Minx have given them something to cheer about in the last 2 minutes.
I mean,
but now you got to cash it in.
Very true. I mean, as beautiful as a day as it is, people want something to cheer about. Hahn takes the snap. There's some pressure. The throw, incomplete. Probably the best outcome right there, because that would have just killed time off the clock for no gain.
And 23 seconds on the clock here. Once again, no timeouts left. So I would assume shots towards the end zone here. And if not, if someone gets tackled short, it's going to be a hurry up and spike situation.
Yeah.
Given it's not 4th down.
I mean, they technically can get a first down if they get to the 1 yard line, it looks like. Pressure rolling out, a little bit of Johnny Manziel type of roll out there, but the sack, and Hahn trying to hurry her way to her feet. They'll get the ball
9
set.
seconds.
Just has to be a
5 seconds.
Hail
It's
Mary
going to
to
be
the end zone.
one play to the end zone.
Just calling for the ball.
1 second.
Calling for it. Takes it. Hahn chucks it down the field and overthrows it, and that is not exactly how you want that to go, and that's going to be halftime. So such a promising drive. I think we can expect a new-look Minx offense in the second half, but unfortunately for the home team, Iowa has come up 35, and they're up 14-0 here at halftime.
I mean, just a disappointing end to what seemed to be such a promising drive, and one more timeout would have went a long way there that they had to use on special teams earlier in the half. I mean, just you got to have hope, but you're a little bit disappointed that they couldn't find a way to capitalize and bring this to a one-score ball game.
I could not agree more. So with that, we're going to send it to halftime. Again, it's the Minx down 14-0 to the Iowa Phoenix here on HCTV Sports.
At Hastings Community TV, we have been telling the story of Hastings since 1983. By supporting HCTV, you are supporting weekly live high school sports coverage, community events, original shows like Take a Hike Mike, Man on the Street, Aprons Optional, and Around the Mic. You are also contributing to coverage for school events, graduation, prom, school board meetings, and the student-run broadcast journalism course, The Echo.
HCTV is your one-stop shop for all things local government. This coverage includes city council and other local government meetings, forums, PSAs, local news packages, and so much more.
HCTV also provides virtual alternatives to in-person viewing for notable events around Hastings. We make all of our content viewable to everyone by putting it on TV, YouTube, Facebook, and our website for on-demand viewing.
With more and more people cutting cable each year, a major source of our funding is continuing to decline. Your support is vital to keeping our small nonprofit sustainable. If you would like to give a donation, you can go to hastingstv.org/donate. To learn about our sponsorship program, where your business will be recognized in our programming, check out hastingstv.org/sponsors.
Some you've heard of more, but it doesn't bother me cause I just love to explore. Interviewing owners and lending a hand. I love to assist for as long as they can stand.
DiMaggio. We're fine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to St. Paul as we get set for the second half of this game between the Minnesota Minx and the Iowa Phoenix. At halftime, it was a 14-0 lead for Iowa over Minnesota. Here we'll take a look at the two scoring plays for Iowa. First touchdown of the game, there was the handoff from the quarterback Brown to Peterson, under 10 yards.
And it wasn't her only touchdown. Peterson, once again, after just the second play of the drive.
Yeah, and that one kind of caught us off guard. We had just came back from break, and that was 86 yards to the house.
Shedding tacklers, being shifty, and then just a total foot race. And Peterson narrowly edging out Minx defender and going all the way to the house to make it 14-0 in favor of the Phoenix. And that brings us to where we are as we see the schedule for the Minx. Dropped a pair to the Midwest Mountain Lions first at home, an 18-8 defeat, and then shut out 18-0 at their place a couple of weeks later. And now the first of two contests today against the Iowa Phoenix. We'll be there on, I believe, the 10th for the series and season finale. And we see...
There's a look at the Division III Iowa Phoenix schedule. Play a little more games than the Minx. They're still looking for their first victory of the season. They've lost on the road to the Nebraska Pride and the Sioux Falls Snow Leopards. Closer games there against the Snow Leopards the second time, and obviously a loss there to the Rocky Mountain Thundercats. A lot of interesting names out there in this league, and they got one more game to go at home against Minnesota. So that'll be interesting, especially with such short seasons and with the Minx only playing two teams. What you can learn in the second game, because I'm curious to see what they've learned from the first half and what they do here in the second. But
so we see Grant Palmer right there talking to some of his coaching staff here before the second half kicks off, trying to... I'd have to imagine, honestly, there might not have been too many halftime adjustments, just seeing the success that they had in the last, 2-3 minutes of that second quarter. I mean, the way they moved the ball down the field with the passing attack, I would expect to see a more heavy dose of that here in the third and fourth quarters as they try to chip away at this 14-point lead.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think the halftime adjustments happened, a few minutes before.
Sure.
Beautiful view there from the camera. Beautiful stadium. Beautiful day for football. Absolutely cannot complain. Be a beautiful day for the Minx to get a win if they can improve here in the second half.
And it's going to be interesting just to see how each team comes out. I mean, we've talked about what Minnesota needs to do. Obviously, they need to pass the ball. But if you're Iowa, I guess I'll ask you, what do you think they need to do? To me, it starts with getting Peterson involved and continuing to get her touches. But if you're Iowa, how do you pull away and extend this lead?
Well, offensively, I would just do the same thing, because I think offensively what they're doing works, and especially their offense is so slow. They just they have these long, sustainable drives, so I think you just keep running the ball a trillion times and go for it on fourth and second and things like that. I think the only thing they have to change is defensively, and it's on that last drive. You just have to stop the passing, and they've done a pretty good job at that by getting pressure. So I probably would just pressure a little bit more, just not give Hahn any time to pass, because we saw that work in the first quarter and really the first half of the second quarter as well. But once she had a little bit of a window to throw the ball, they started moving the ball down the field.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent point. I mean, their greatest strength is also becoming their greatest advantage even more with the clock and their rushing attack, chewing away at that clock and limiting what will be Minnesota's offensive opportunities.
And we'll get the kickoff, and the second half is underway. Ball's going to be fielded by Krogstad there at the 38-yard line.
And that one was a little close for comfort there if you're a Minnesota fan, just sneaking its way past the first layer of kick returners, and Krogstad there to save the day and dive on it to retain possession. Certainly not an onside kick there, but they've been doing some weird kickoff stuff, whether it be squibs or pooch kicks or whatever they've done. I mean, the one's onside kick early certainly keeping it fresh with the kicking game.
Well, I mean, I suppose if you can't put it through the back of the end zone, you might as well just throw a knuckleball and hope something happens.
Something wacky happens.
Well, we'll see what this Minx offense can do here to start the third quarter. Hahn, the quarterback. A couple of receivers on each side. And that one's going to be well off target.
And going to the pass early, incompletion there. Intended for Brittany Tricorico. But I mean, this drive is a real chance for Minnesota to set the tone. I mean, if you go 3 and out, there's obviously a big difference there, just momentum-wise and potentially scoreboard-wise, compared to putting a drive together and picking up on the success that you had late in that first half.
Yeah, the comeback probably has to start now. Low snap recovered by Hahn. The handoff, we're going to get a penalty. Hahn is going to want that on the defense. We'll see what the Zebras have to say about this.
Looks like Hahn was asking for a face mask on that first contact with the running back. Referees are going to get together and come to some sort of conclusion here. No signal on the call yet. And it is a face mask, so that will be a 15-yard infraction. Going to be an automatic first down here. And, I mean, probably not the way you drew it up in the locker room to get the offense going with a fresh set of downs, but I think Minnesota's going to take it either way.
And that is, realistically a massive swing in field position now on the opposing side of the field.
Yeah, because that was going to set up the next play was going to be 3rd and long for Minnesota, and now it's first down in opposing territory at the 44-yard line.
Miller, the receiver nearest to the Minx bench. Another low snap. Hahn slings that one down the field. The catch is made for a first down by Miranda Krogstad.
What a great grab by Krogstad, and what a nice ball from Hahn there to fit it through a tight window, as I believe we're going to get another look. Yes, here it is out of the pistol. Looking to the right side the whole way, and that's just, that is beautiful. And it's a first down for the Minx.
Pretty much the smallest player on the field for either team, 5'3", 130, but the biggest of playmakers, certainly when it comes to the passing game for either side. Hahn, pistol snap, has to field that one out of the turf there, and hands it off for a run up the middle, going to gain a yard, left side of that offensive line.
And it looks like we might have an injured player. We do, and they're asking for the training staff to come out.
And the Minx are going to have to fix their snapping issues, because a lot of these snaps are going a little off kilter. Tough to see exactly which player that is there.
Haven't quite been able to identify. It looks like that's 3-4. That is Madeline Emmanuel. It looks like a two-way offensive and defensive lineman. Looks like maybe some shoulder pain there.
Yeah, maybe a stinger.
Just being helped to the sideline by the training staff, and hopefully she's okay and maybe find her way back onto the field here in the second half. But till then, it's Minnesota in the pistol.
Second down, heavy pressure there from the Iowa defense. That one a bit of a wobbler, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Iowa. That was Megan Kushner.
And just a drive killer there from Minnesota. Just turning it over when you're finally in opposing territory, as we're going to get another look here. And Otterson makes a nice block to buy Hahn some time. Maybe it sailed on her a little bit. Either way, it's going the other way.
Yeah, Hahn when she's passing, when she has her feet set and just is standing perfectly still, I mean, we've seen, the cannon and the accuracy that she has, but anytime this Iowa defense gets her moving a little bit, and she wasn't even moving that much there, she kind of forces some unforced errors. Brown with the snap, hands it off to Peterson. Peterson with some space, good blocking there on the outside, first down, and a few more.
She just makes it look so effortless. I mean, Peterson, with the way she can elude tacklers and shed people who get hands on her. I mean, here we get another look at it. Just another one of those little inside handoffs, and it doesn't look like much, but that extra 3 yards, that 4 yards, I guess, that's the difference between second and short and getting a fresh set of downs. And she's done that the whole day today. I mean, Peterson has been, I'd love to, if they kept broken tackle numbers, I'd love to see her figures because she's got to have 6 or 7 already.
Yeah, she is just having a monster game. And again, it's so hard to believe this team is 0-4 with the performance that she's having. Fresh set of downs. We'll get another handoff to Peterson. Cuts her way to the inside, and she's going to be wrapped up from behind by J.C. Otterson.
Yeah, just thinking about, I mean, how they're 0-4. When you see an 0-4 record, I think you would, as we see a replay here of Peterson's last carry, when you see an 0-4 record, I think you would assume that, oh, it's sloppy, they haven't done anything well, and that is not the case with this Iowa team. I mean, they have been, outside of a couple of those muffed snaps in the first half, they've been fairly well oiled and they've looked like a good football team thus far. And maybe it's because they're always in the same shotgun formation. I mean, they've run 99% of their plays out of this.
Well, it's like I think Bruce Lee said this. You don't fear the man who knows 1,000 strikes. You fear the man who's practiced one strike 1,000 times, and that is really just the mantra here for Iowa is they get another first down. That's 17 yards on the carry from Lacey. There's no need to ever go to the pistol. There's no need to ever go to the down center.
It's totally fair. They've been fairly efficient today as well. I think part of it is, I mean, their line has certainly done its job, but to me, it's been the playmakers everywhere. You think of Smith has had some carries. Christensen's hauled in some passes. Kurth has been excellent on kick returns. I mean, they are getting contributions from several players, although Peterson has unquestionably been kind of the highlight of today for them so far.
And that's such a good point, too, about the efficiency, tying into that. They don't take negative plays.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a couple of those botched snaps. They don't take negative plays. They're always moving forward. It might not be a lot every time as we get an incomplete pass in between several players, and we got an injured Minnesota Minx defensive back.
And the trainers.
And I don't see number 19 on the bench or on the field, so that could be their best cornerback in Sarah Thomas, which would be
That'd be
a huge loss.
It'd be a big loss, even if it was just a couple plays. Obviously, haven't confirmed the identity yet, but she's been their top defensive back all today, and I would assume just based on how she's played, she's been one of their best the whole season. And that's 3 or 4 injuries now the Minx have had today that, they've started to impact this game, no question. And if that does end up being Thomas, I mean, that would be a very tough position while you're already trailing multiple scores.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. And I don't know if it's a scheme or her, but she doesn't have the great coverage, the best coverage in the world, but she has impeccable closing speed and just the ability to get a limb somewhere on the ball to disrupt it. I mean, she's a great disruptor.
And it looks like they're going to bring her. They're opting for a carry.
And that is 19, so that is Thomas. And Diamonds Miller comes out, and she's going to be the replacement. You hate to see something like this.
And that face of Grant Palmer, pretty much said it all as they see her getting carried off, and clearly knowing the impact that not having her on the field is that changes this ball game, no question.
Yeah, you just feel for somebody like that on so many levels too, because at the end of the day, this is not their only job. These are people who take the time out of their careers to try to pursue something. So it's not the same as a NFL defensive back getting injured. The stakes are a little bit higher.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, interesting right there. I mean, Thomas goes out, who's been unquestionably their best corner today. First play, they throw out the replacement. I mean, Iowa, they give them some credit. Their coaching staff knows what's going on, and when you lose one of your best players on that side of the ball, you have to assume they're going to attack it, as we see Hahn there, number 2, kind of talking to Thomas about, hey, it's going to be all right, hopefully. I would assume that's kind of the message.
Yeah, well, that's, again, pulling a page from the Aaron Rodgers book. You attack the replacement. We'll get a run here from Peterson, and a flag coming in from 40 yards down the field. Oh, my. So we don't know if this play is going to stand here, but
he threw that flag from the 20, and it got to the 45-yard line. Get that guy a jersey.
Now, what is this guy doing here? Why is he? I mean, he should be at
he should be tossing a minor league
right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's a double A-ball arm. And it looks like a holding call is going to be declined. I'm assuming they're asking if they want. Do you want the down or do you want to move back?
Well, that's an interesting.
Right.
Dilemma.
Do you want it to be 3rd and 10 or I believe 2nd and 20? Sure, I saw the hold on that replay. It might have been one of the interior offensive line. There's that laundry that came in.
Yeah, we need a exit velo on that cannon there.
It was perfect premium launch angle.
I mean, a throw of a penalty flag like that would make Orlando Brown cry. Bit of a wonky snap, but we're gonna get the throw off, and the catch is made. Gain of only 2 yards, but Iowa salvaging something. Get the tackle there by Josetia Castonguay.
And nice job by, Brown to corral that ball and then not only save the play from a loss, but complete it and salvage positive yardage. That's Kurth on the reception from North Liberty, Iowa.
And she didn't even have to use Jerry Rice amounts to stick him. I mean, Jerry Rice could never.
It wasn't Jerry Rice Stickum. It was Mike. It was Big Mike, Michael Pineda's.
Oh, that's more realistic for the area. Is he's not still with the Twins, is he?
I don't think so. I don't know what he's doing.
Getting into the spider tack business.
Yeah. Maybe that's where Garrett Cole got it. That's where Big Mike's hooking people up with it.
Big Mike spider tack. Well, 4th down. This is a critical play. Brown's going to throw the ball. Intercepted. Intercepted by Minnesota, taking it back right into the smack dab middle of the field there. I think there was Madeline Emmanuel with the interception, but
it was just confirmed by the PA voice here. Madeline Emmanuel with the pick. That's a defensive lineman dropping back into coverage. We're going to get another look at this. 4th down. And just going to fire over the middle. And that one never had a chance. Emmanuel reading it the whole way. And doing a nice job to get 5 or 10 yards on the return, bring it out to midfield. And, this is... If you're Minnesota, you gotta capitalize at some point.
That's like B.J. Raji dropping back in coverage and getting an interception.
Doing some of the... We should have got the dance, the B.J. Raji dance.
You should have. Or John Jolly. That's a guy, right?
Johnny Jolly from back in the day?
Yeah. He's a big boy. And
Why not throw a Kenny Pickett reference in there? Just all of these guys from back in the...
Got plenty of different options. LaTroy Guyon, and that is an interception right back. Anytime anything's going moderately smooth for the Minx, it just, goes the other way there. That's a killer. You have such a great play there by Emmanuel, who was injured earlier in the game, comes back, and now they're trading interceptions here.
That honestly looked like an old school miscommunication. The receiver was still running, and it looked like Hahn was throwing almost like a comeback route.
So pretty much 30 seconds of real time.
Yeah.
And we have 2 turnovers. Got 8:43 to go here in the third quarter.
And you got to think about the impact that has on your defense. Not only is your offense obviously not scoring when that happens, but the defense immediately comes right back on the field.
Oh, you got to be so
They're
angry.
tired. They're got to be gassed.
And Peterson with the handoff, far side, gets around the edge. We'll see where they decide to mark her out of bounds, but they are going to give her a first down.
I don't think we have running stats as we get another look at Peterson's carry, and she's just been so good at bouncing outside. Makes it look effortless, and I mean, given her, I believe, what was it, 86-yard carry and all the other success, she's got to be in the 160 range in terms of yards, I'd have to assume.
Yeah, I got a lot of them.
So 8 minutes here left to go in the third quarter.
I would imagine she has more yards than the rest of that offense combined and the Minx offense combined.
I think I agree with that.
Brown looking over to Peterson's side. This time it's a throw, a catch, and a solid tackle, a gain of 2.
Tackle.
And another injury for the Minx.
My goodness.
Came down a little bit awkward trying to tear down Peterson, and I think that's a manual again.
Minnesota, I mean, it's been, obviously you'd never want Iowa players to get injured either, but it's been fairly lopsided in injuries. I mean, I think Minnesota's lost 3 or 4 players today for various stretches. And just another one here is, I mean, it looks like Emmanuel's getting to her feet. Maybe another stinger like we saw earlier, reaching towards that shoulder again.
Yeah, it has to be just re-aggravating that old injury. We'll get a closer look here. Kind of came down a little funny, getting whipped around.
It's an outstanding tackle. I mean, it really was.
Well, hopefully she'll be back, because she's certainly been a playmaker for this Minx defense.
And we'll see her walk to the sideline with the assistance of the athletic staff.
You know, and I'm so interested about the dynamics of, you know, depth charts and injuries. You know, you hope they never happened, but I'm so curious with such a small roster just how big one injury can impact a team. Throwing the ball, the catch is incomplete. We're going to get a penalty flag.
Wow, is he saying...
Diamonds Miller in coverage.
Is that official saying PI? That ball had already been touched. I believe. I mean, if maybe we can get another look at this at some point here. Officials still discussing, and yeah, they are going to say defensive pass interference. I mean, this is going to be a great look here. If the another muffed snap. See if the defender got there early. Maybe.
Not really.
I don't know. I thought.
I just have such an issue with refs calling PI when the ball comes back. Because what is a defender going to do? That's her space. You have a right to be there as a defender, and if the receiver is crashing back into you to try to catch a ball that's underthrown, I just have such a problem with that.
One more look at it, super slow-mo.
I don't see it.
Maybe a tad bit, but I mean, that is...
Because she kind of even retracts her arms a little bit.
I mean, that's bang, bang. That's block charge right there. I mean, either way.
Even if you thought it was, I just think it's so close. You probably shouldn't call something that nitpicky, even if it was. But I don't think it was.
That's a 15, nearly a 20-yard penalty. I mean, that's a big call in this game, especially with here 7 minutes left in the third quarter. You give Iowa second life and another injury.
I mean, the Minx are going to run out of players at this point. Hopefully that's just a cramp or something that they can stretch out, but the athletic trainers here for Minnesota getting a workout here, unfortunately. And I mean, really, what? There's 30 players on the roster.
Yeah,
There's not that many.
This is not a 100-person roster.
I mean, if you lose 2 linebackers, I mean, how many more linebackers?
Yeah.
You can play somebody out of position, but I mean, it's terrible.
And it looks like, oh man, that's J.C. Otterson as well. I mean, that's one of your premier players, both offensively and defensively, a true two-way force. I mean, it looks like maybe as you were alluding to, maybe a cramp as she's getting some water there, but these injuries they're starting to add up.
She needs a coconut stat. That's terrible because that's your best linebacker and that's your run game too.
Yeah, that's one of your go-to handoffs.
Handoff here to Lacey. Evades a couple of tackles. I mean, the amount of broken tackles for Iowa here this afternoon is just insane. Short gain on the play.
And it doesn't necessarily, as we get another look here, it doesn't necessarily look like it's been a product of poor tackling. It more, at least in my eyes, it looks like Iowa's just done a nice job of being physical, being shifty, and finding a way to get out of some of those tackles.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's a mentality too. They don't accept that because you touch me, I'm getting tackled.
Yeah. Maybe almost embracing first contact. It also helps that first contact is 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. I mean, that has been an advantage as well.
Brown with the snap, hands it off to Peterson. They're going to shuffle there to the left side. Easy first down, well into the red zone, and it's going to put them in prime position to go up 3 possessions.
And they have made hay all afternoon with that kind of inside handoff that Peterson has just consistently bounced to the outside.
I mean, nobody can say this Iowa offense is flashy or diverse, but they have their meat and potato offense, and they stick to it, and it is paying off for them here against the Minx. 2 receivers on the near side. Brown with the handoff to Peterson. Up the middle, pushing the pile there, and she's going to get to the 4.
And just looking at the season statistics here for the Phoenix, 386 rush yards this year, 96.5 per game, compared to where they are with passing 382 yards this season, 95.5 per game. So they've been basically identical in rushing and passing, but that has not been the case today with the success Peterson has had.
No, they totally flipped that script, and there's another run from Peterson, and that's going to be her 3rd touchdown of the game. She's the only player to score in this game, and she scored in every quarter thus far. Take another look at the scoring play here.
And Peterson just doing her thing. I mean, she's, for as good as she has been in terms of being elusive and breaking tackles, give just as much credit to the offensive line for having her not get hit for 4 or 5 yards until after the line of scrimmage. I mean, they have been equally as outstanding today, and likely won't get enough credit.
2-point conversion. It's going to be the same play, and she's going to fall in. And that's going to be a 22-0 lead. Second 2-point conversion that has been successful. Second consecutive 2-point conversion that has been good for Iowa. And that's so true. I mean, the moving company doesn't get enough credit, as we'll take another look here. Got the 2-point conversion. But there's not really a good running back that exists in a vacuum.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume a lot of people are gonna leave today thinking, Crystal Peterson is the real deal, as they should. But I mean, that offensive line, they deserve so much credit. I mean, if you just watching, I mean, we've been watching replays all day. They've had a lot of them. She hasn't been touched for 4 or 5 yards. I mean, that is a recipe for success. As we see another look at Grant Palmer there, after his team goes down 3 scores to the Phoenix.
And I've never heard of Loris college, but I'm going to look into their football program after this because of Peterson's performance. I am so glad that I picked her up in fantasy football.
A total monster. You got her on the cheap for the Now, are we talking a traditional or are we talking a pay for player?
Just, traditional snake draft.
Classic.
A keeper league.
Ooh.
Traded a 3rd-round pick for her.
One of the great trades of all time.
People are going to be talking about it for years after how many points I get this afternoon. End-over-end kick and returned just shy of midfield by Miranda Krogstad.
So Minnesota will take over. 4 minutes, 27 seconds remaining here in this 3rd frame.
And I feel like this offense in some ways parallels the Hastings Raiders offense so much with Johnny Bezdacek and Miranda Krogstad, because I just want them to feed this one wide receiver. Like however you can do it, you just got to get the ball into the hands of Krogstad.
Yeah, and that's what it's been. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's a perfect point. You find a way to get the ball to your playmakers. And if you do that, even if you don't, you might not win, but you live with those results. You need to have your players, your best players, with the ball in their hand at all times. Bringing some heat, maybe.
Yeah, Iowa feigning some pressure. Another good block by these running backs.
Oh.
And that one in and out of the hands of number 27, Brittany Tricarico.
So Hahn puts one on. The absolute numbers right there. And just couldn't haul it in. Maybe felt the presence of 3 of those defenders closing in. But down 3 scores, those are the plays you have to make to even find a way back into this game.
Yeah, and I imagine it can get kind of daunting too because, you're down 2 possessions, but you have to score once before you can score twice. And, I mean, this has just been the monkey on their back for the last 2 games.
Yeah.
They haven't scored since the first game of the season. Again, heavy pressure. Hahn throwing it under pressure. And we're going to get a late penalty flag just shy of the line of scrimmage. About 4 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter.
And it looks like it will be a hold against Minnesota. And behind the sticks once again.
Just holding on for dear life against this front 7 for Iowa. And it's so crazy, too. And, you can see it on plays like that. It's not a big defense, and it's particularly not a big defensive line or linebacker unit, but they're just so fast. They just get from point A to point B, and there's not a whole lot of curve to how they get there. They're pretty linear, and they're pretty fast.
Yeah, it's been a lot of speed, and then you do have just one large player. You look at number 27 on the defensive side of the ball, the D-line, Bridget Karsten, a 6', 215 D tackle. That'll get the job done. I mean, she has been spearheading this defensive effort, and that size paired with the speed on the edge, it's been potent today, and it's one of the reasons Minnesota has struggled to score. Not sure what happened there. Did they not enforce the holding? Is that?
I think that's what the PA man said. There's definitely some sort of confusion between Hahn and that back judge.
So it looks like it will be 2nd and 20 from Minnesota's own 39-yard line. 4 minutes and change here to go in the 3rd.
Pistol snap to Hahn, hand off to Otterson, and that, I don't know if that could have gone any worse for Otterson there. Just way too much pressure from Iowa on that far side.
It's 3rd and a mile, and we have a timeout for Minnesota. That was Karsten, the aforementioned Karsten, and number 87, Caitlin Boyd, joining together for the tackle deep in the backfield, and it is Minnesota's offense might need binoculars to see this first down stick.
Yeah, I mean, what's your best 25-yard play here, Reagan?
Get lucky. That's what the best 25-yard play is. And I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, it'd be nice if they picked this up, but you got to wonder if they get it to, if you can get it to 4th and 15, is it worth going for, or do you still punt? I mean, just given what the score is and less than 4 minutes left in this third quarter, it's kind of a weird spot to be in.
I would like to think you go for it, really, no matter if it's 4th and 20, because, I mean, what are you going to play to lose and punt the ball? I mean, you have to score, and you have to score really quick to get back into this game. And whether or not you lose by 14 or 42, it's kind of immaterial to the standings.
Yeah, it might be a go-for-it opportunity either way. But here we are, coming out of the break. It will be 3rd and 25. First down stick set at the 41 of the Phoenix.
And I don't think that this Phoenix secondary gets the credit they deserve for how well they've defended the pass in the second half, especially after that drive right before halftime. Hahn with the snap, a little bit of time, throws the ball, caught by Krogstad, spun around, and she's going to get to the original line of scrimmage. That's going to bring up a 4th and 10 from midfield.
Nice 15-yard gain right there. The old classic connection doesn't get better than Hahn to Krogstad. Fitting it in a tight window, and now it's going to be 4th and 10, and it's an auto go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially after you just got 15. You know you can sling the ball down there and get this first down here.
Going to be generous with the spot. Say 4th and 9 here. 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go. Third quarter.
Pressure right up the middle. Good blocking there from Minnesota, and an interception from Hahn as she just taps the top of her head in frustration. The return still going on. Still going on. Somebody's got to tackle her. And goes out of bounds right into the Iowa bench. And again, Reagan, anytime this Minx team gets a little bit too high, a little bit too much momentum, that meter drops.
And Hahn takes the helmet off early as she heads to the sideline, just frustrated. You got to think it's, maybe just as we see another look at the pick, that ball's 4 yards too long. You think maybe just, don't have it today, or a combination of trying to make something happen when you're down 3 scores, getting towards the later part of a ball game. It's probably a combination of the two. Just too many turnovers today.
Oh, that's a very fair point.
Oh, I can't see it all because there's so much glare.
So now this Minx defense back out on the field is going to be a run to Lacey. Peterson, and that's a tackle at least assisted by Kayla Doby.
So we see Hahn talking to one of the assistants here. Maybe a little bit of a pep talk, some knuckles there saying, "Hey, we know who you are. You're gonna be just fine."
A little TO, that's my quarterback.
That's my quarterback. That's my, yeah. Hey, that's the way you got to approach it. I'd like to think it's kind of a product of her trying to, well, especially in a 4th down play, but just trying to make something happen when, kind of like you said earlier, it doesn't matter if it's 14-0 or 60-0. A loss is a loss. So trying to find a way to get some chunk yardage back and just missing a little.
Second down and 7. Brown slinging it down the field. And another deflection here for Minnesota. That's Krogstad.
And important, just a little bit of an update. I don't know if our cameras can get it, but Sarah Thomas is still on the sideline on that bench. Looks like she's got ice on the ankle or legs propped up on the bench, so I would assume we're not going to see her again this afternoon, which is, the ball game's likely decided, but the uphill battle is even tougher when she's on the sideline.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption.
So we get there she is, number 19 right there. Got the leg propped up, a little bit of an ice pack on it.
Health is wealth. They're going to need her for that road trip down to Iowa. Peterson looking to get another first down, still on her feet, and cuts to the inside, taken down at the 27. I'd love to know the amount of first down she's had this game.
Yeah, her yard's got to be crazy. One more look there at...
And another injured Minx player, particularly on the defense.
Yeah, we're going to go from injury to injury. So that's Sarah Thomas, the shot there, and now looking out to the injured Minx player there. Looks like 29, Melanie Timonen.
I'm glad you took a stab at that.
Yep. Yeah, somebody to do it. Hopefully she's okay. Gonna get a replay here, maybe see where the injury happened. Oh yeah, looks like she just kind of got tied up there while getting blocked. And maybe a little bit of a twisted ankle. She's trying to walk it off, couldn't quite do it.
It's always the dirty plays. And I don't mean like dirty as in, mean-spirited. But,
Intentional,
yeah, intentional. You know, it's always the grimy plays. It's always the plays you never see come in.
Well, that's the thing. It's where do so many injuries happen, right? It's on the trenches. I mean, because you get tied up and, it's legs get twisted and weird things happen. And, I mean, that's an example of it. It wasn't necessarily on the line, but it was a blocking play and just got kind of tied up weird.
Yeah, it's crazy how often people will get absolutely leveled by a hit and they don't get injured. I mean, obviously it does happen sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's always just like the weirdest tweak or bounce or some sort of like ragdoll physics that leads to these injuries.
And there we see the scoreboard, not necessarily favoring Minnesota today. We see Melanie trying to walk it off, a little bit of a kind of hopping. And these, not to use it as an excuse, because the game was likely already out of reach, but the injuries have certainly piled up. I mean, that's got to be what, number 5 or 6 here today?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
And starters. I mean, these are big time players.
You got to wonder how this is going to impact them in a couple of weeks when they have to go down to Iowa. I might be seeing a handful of new players.
So a minute 37 here as the clock starts to run here in the third quarter.
Hand off here to Lacey. Lacey still on her feet and taken down a few yards shy of the chains. I mean, it takes a lot more than, just one solo tackle to bring these backs down for Iowa.
I think like we were talking about earlier, I mean, I just can't believe this is a winless club. I mean, they've played so well today and not just in one aspect. I mean, outside of that weird couple of minutes in the first half, they haven't made too many mistakes.
Another handoff to Lacey, this time to the left side around the edge. Gaining speed, and that's going to be a touchdown for Iowa. I'm just conditioned to see if more players are down. But that's going to be the second touchdown for Iowa here in the third quarter. The first touchdown of the game from someone with a different last name than Peterson.
Different name, different player, same position. Those backs have been dynamic today for the Phoenix. And it looks like they've got a 2-point try to make it a 30-0 ball game.
Because we couldn't have it be 29. That would be too close of a lead.
If they don't score here and we kick a field goal, then we've got them right where we want them, 28-3.
Oh, that is so true. Brown throwing it. And maybe a tiny bit of holding, but a good defensive stop there. So it is 28-0, Reagan. We just need a field goal. We don't even need a touchdown. We just need to get the field goal, and then we got
magic
it in
happens.
place.
I mean, that would be like Michael's special stuff on the sideline, right? I mean, that's exactly where you want them. And they might need some of that if they want to get back into this ball game in the fourth quarter, but, you know, weirder things have happened.
It's the magic numbers. And you hope that they at least score some points in this game so that you don't have two games in a row where you don't score. You know, I would have to imagine that although their next game is going to be on the road against Iowa, that game probably would be a little bit more competitive, you know, if they can kind of capitalize on some of the adjustments and you become familiar with the team.
Last shot right there of Ricky Jimenez Dragoni, the head coach for the Iowa Phoenix, and I don't know if he's the one calling plays, but whoever's doing it, he's got his squad ready, and they've come to play today. They've done a nice job, and they've been so balanced. I think that's what I've been the most impressed with. And it's been reflected accurately on the scoreboard.
Yeah, well, you know, there's nothing fluky about the scoreboard. And then there's nothing worse than losing on a road trip.
And I think you get an onside kick here.
And that one's going to go out of bounds.
He might have fielded that a little early. He might have. I do think, I mean, I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I mean, these teams are slated to play again, I believe, on June 10th, so here in, what is that, a week and a half? I mean, I feel like it could go differently. I'm not saying I don't think it would be a reverse, you know, lopsided score like this, but Minnesota hasn't had their best stuff today, and this is by far Iowa's best rushing game of the season, probably threefold. I mean, do you think this game can be competitive at their place, even though it's going to be a road trip for the Minx?
I think it should have been competitive here.
Yeah,
it's just kind of crazy because Iowa fumbles the balls, you know, so much, but they always recovered it, and you know, they were losing well before the injuries happened, but that's obviously not helping their case in terms of the final score. But it's just they can set up one or two good plays, as we'll get a sack there on Madison Hahn. That's 21 Shannon Christensen, and another Minx injury.
This is outrageous.
But it's like they can do the right thing generally until it comes to a point. It's just like that final little push where something kind of goes wrong. Charissa Mobley is going to come in as the substitute.
It looks like this is... I can't quite see the number from here. Looks like 12. That's Courtney Stoltz, the offensive lineman out of Matamidai. So, I mean, that's another starter, at least for a play or two, gone.
Well, and yeah, hopefully not, but maybe a little more than a play or two when you're face down on the turf. It's never a great sign.
I don't think. I mean, we've done a lot of football games together. I don't think we've seen a lot of injuries, even in one game, but not necessarily this lopsided. I mean, I don't think Iowa's had an injury.
I don't think so. Maybe they did really early on and we're forgetting, but I don't think they have.
Looks like maybe. Oh, they're rolling her over to her back.
And these are big players too, for the Minx. I mean, stature-wise. I mean, these are you know, some of your most important players are big players. I mean, the offensive line and defensive line, everything on the defense comes behind the defensive line, and obviously any type of play you run, passing or running, is going to go through that offensive line. So, and
they've got 12 Stoltz, who's down. They've got her listed as obviously offensive line 5'9", 260. I mean, she's the heaviest. I mean, and she's one of the tallest on the team. I mean, that is. It's hard to lose a starter, but it's even harder to lose a starter that brings that kind of physicality.
Well, and with that, we're going to send it to a break here on HCTV Sports.
Hi, I'm Dave Wilski, Chief of Police in Hastings, Minnesota. Fentanyl and other opioids are here in Hastings. Our police officers, EMTs, and firefighters respond to dozens of overdoses and poisonings every year. To date, for 2022, Hastings Police Department officers have responded to 45 reported overdoses in our community, and you can help. Call 911 if a friend or loved one is overdosing. Minnesota's Good Samaritan Law, also known as Steve's Law, provides limited protection to people who call 911 and or administer naloxone in response to a suspected or known drug overdose. You can report drug problems anonymously as well. Use our TIP 411 system to make a confidential report.
And we're back from the break here. The Minnesota Minx on offense, second down. Got a man in motion. Throwing it over to the man in motion. That's Trickerico, and I get a small gain on the play.
And just a real quick update. While we were in the break, Stoltz did make it to the sideline. A little assistance from the trainer. Still obviously shaken up on the bench as she's still talking to the athletic staff, but looks to have avoided anything, too serious, at least from the outside.
Well, you always hope it looks worse than it actually is. And a critical third down here, just north of 10 minutes to go here in the final quarter. 14 yards to a first down. Iowa showing pressure. Somebody jumped offside. It's a free play. The throw and the catch could not be completed to number 23, Kaylee Doby.
This should be an offsides call, I believe, and it is.
Yeah, I don't know why the Iowa defense is holding their hands out like, what are you guys?
You're a yard and a half offsides. Yeah. I don't know what there is to.
Pretty cut and dry on that one there.
It's going to be a 3rd and 9 here with 9.5 left remaining in the fourth quarter.
Well, let's see if they can break this goose egg on the board. Hahn throwing the ball. The catch is made by Brittany Tricarico. And she'll be taken down at the 41. Still a few yards to go for a first down, but this is obviously fourth down territory for your home team.
No question about that as we get a close-up here of Hahn out of the pistol, just swinging it out to the right side. Nice job from Tricarico to make a couple ladies miss and make it fourth and manageable here at 4 yards to go.
And that was a good job getting the ball out quickly because that defender was closing in. If that sails just a little bit, that could be a pick six. Well, here's the critical fourth down, and before we get the snap, we're going to get some sort of penalty here.
Far judge signaling offsides. It is. That is going to be a free set of downs.
Well, that's going to be a first down, so you'll take it.
Whatever you can get at this point. I mean,
sometimes you need a little help.
8 minutes left, trailing by 4 touchdowns. Like you said, it would be nice, I mean, just to boost a little morale, right? And just find a way to get on the board.
Just to know you can. Just to have a little momentum going into the next one. Now the Minx coming out. 3 receivers set, 2 on the near side. A little bit of a bobbled reception of the snap. Hahn throws the ball, and that's going to be interesting what they call that. That's going to be an interception.
They're going to say picked off.
It started off as a 50-50 ball, but powered away there from Iowa, and that's interception number 4?
Yeah, I believe so. Unlucky play there, but someone's going to get lucky. They're announcing the 50-50 raffle right now.
Well, somebody wins.
Might get a lucky fan coming in right behind us here to claim, $400 or $500 as we see shot a Tricorico right there. And she's had a good ball game today. No, I guess nothing has necessarily translated to the scoreboard, but there have been some decent performances here from the Minx.
Hey, maybe we'll let the raffle winner just call the rest of the game. Peterson, very dangerous, spinning around far side and into Minx territory, a run of 20 yards. And another player coming up gingerly for the Minx. It's Kayla Doby. Looks like she's going to stay in the game, but feeling it somewhere on the torso.
And Doby's been, just from talking to some of the staff in the Minx here before the game, I mean, Doby's been she was saying maybe their best tackler on the entire defensive unit. I mean, obviously that would be, not that the losses have already piled up in terms of injuries, but you lose a top defensive back, your best linebackers coming up gingerly, you've lost defensive linemen. It's been a tough day at the ballpark here for the Minx.
I mean, these injuries are just like a slasher, like a horror movie, like Scream. Like it's just coming for everybody at some
you think
point.
It keeps getting worse. You think it's going to be better, but it's not.
No, it just always gets worse. There's just always more injuries. Moderate gain on the play there by Peterson. Already has 3 touchdowns.
And I haven't seen the rest of this league. I'm comfortable calling Peterson maybe a superstar. She's excellent. I mean, she's delivered in spades today.
I mean, is this her Heisman performance?
Unquestionably. On the road, you go in and score 3 touchdowns with 5 minutes left, maybe 4.
Now, because this is Division III versus Division IV, does this count as like so like if you had your Heisman moment against an FBS team,
great question,
would you get knocked by the voters? See, I don't know how this works.
If we had votes, I'd be willing to discuss it more. We should get some votes.
We should get votes. First down there for Iowa. I'm going to be very stingy like the baseball voters. No first ballot Hall of Famers.
Oh, you'd be the dude that's like,
I'm going to be a real jerk about it.
We can't let Mariano in unanimously because it's never happened before.
Yep, I'm going to make it all about me.
Even though, they sewered Jeter out of that. I think he missed unanimous by 1 vote, but Mariano did get it unanimously.
It's just crazy.
Just outrageous, leaving one off your ballot.
Baseball people are the worst. That's why we're here covering football.
On the gridiron, baby.
Yeah, on the gridiron. The old gridiron. The Red Grange gridiron. Run there by Peterson. A little stiff arm leaves a defender in the dirt. Solid sportsmanship there. That was Krogstad trying to make the tackle.
That was Krogstad coming out on the wrong side of that stiff arm.
Also, forget everything I said about baseball because we do have baseball up next on HCTV Sports.
I mean, we've always said we're baseball guys.
I've always said I'm a big fan of baseball.
We've been pretty consistent in that.
Versus Park sections Monday at 4:30 p.m.
Ooh, it's postseason baseball, huh?
It's postseason baseball, and that
ain't nothing better.
We need to keep Hunter off the air because we can't get him started about postseason baseball versus Park. I mean, this is a very contentious issue in the Hastings area, so there might be a little revenge in that game. Bit of a wobbler there.
Yeah.
And, that was a little short of the intended target. Or maybe the Wolfpack will be howling. I mean, you never know.
It's a great.
Like
you
they
never
say,
know, man.
The power of the pack.
There was no power in the pack this year.
No,
It was poor at best. Receiving word, Hastings was the 3rd-seeded team for the postseason. And Park is number 7.
Brown with the handoff to Lacey. Plenty of momentum, tiptoeing down the sidelines, cuts to the inside.
Laundry. Maybe some sort of illegal block. And it looks like the ref may have signaled holding. And it is. It's getting confirmed. This will be holding against Iowa. That gain will be wiped.
We have confirmation from New York.
Blandino's ringing in our ear. Unfortunately, can't get him. His webcam broke.
He's on line 3, though.
if you're the fifth caller, you can weigh in on that.
Less than 2 minutes to go here before the end of regulation. You know, I think we should just take callers.
I'm in. And it's so it must be 4 touchdowns for running time. I would assume.
Well, they're definitely.
It's not point differential. It's if both teams agree to running time. It certainly has been done here with under 2 to go.
Solid stop there by the Minx defense. You know, sometimes, like Kenny Rogers says, sometimes you got to know when to fold them. And when half your team is getting injured, it's probably, and you're down by 4 touchdowns.
And hold them as well. I mean, you got to know when to maybe hold our starters.
That's true. Hey, maybe if you're up 28-0 and they ask for running time, you say, no thanks, we're having too much fun. But
yeah, we're gonna see if all the lights work on the scoreboard.
Yeah, we're gonna have to call Daktronic after the game. Excuse me, Spectrum. Well, only a couple more plays before this one is a wrap officially.
And they're
still playing like it's 0-0.
Brown. And they're gonna try and score.
First quarterback scramble. She's still on her feet. She's still going. Touchdown, Brown. Wow, that is.
We don't care about sportsmanship, and we never did. That's what that is.
Everybody says that they would just let it run out, but you know, when the touchdown's presenting itself, you know, you gotta take it. I can't even blame her.
You could take a knee.
Well, you know, you could take a touchdown, and that's exactly what she did. I mean, you gotta get.
They gotta make those numbers look better.
Those are rookie numbers, yeah. I mean, listen, you know, the Minx averaged 4 points a game, and they were in the top half. And
did they not count that touchdown? Did I? Oh, there it is. It's just being added to the scoreboard.
And there's no 2-point conversion, so with that, it's going to be the end of the game. It's going to be a sizable 34-0 victory for the visiting Iowa Phoenix over the Minnesota Minx. They win the Battle of 35, 34-0, and Reagan, I feel like the final score doesn't tell the whole story about how close this game was, but through injuries and just field position, you know, it was kind of a mollywhopping.
Field position. I mean, it was. What do they say? Death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? It's maybe a few muff snaps here. Field position wasn't great. You have some injuries. Obviously, the turnovers. I mean, that's a large gash. That is not a paper cut. But it all added up, and it unfortunately culminated in the 34-0 defeat.
Yeah, that was a machete wound.
Yeah.
Well,
need some sutures for that, probably.
Yeah, well, you do whatever you can do. But with that, it's going to be the first win of the season for Iowa. They're going to improve to 1-4. Minx dropped to 0-3. We'd like to give a special shout out to Hunter Pinky, Owen Ely, Reagan Hooverman, Tori Sellner, Will Celine. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been Minnesota Minx football on HCTV Sports.